Hello, this is Nick Powell reporting on the nightly news. That was horrible. Welcome back to another week of the weekly Sizzle, or the weekly fraction, or the weekly whatever we're calling it now, because what I've noticed is the rewind's down there, the Sizzle's up here, and I promise you we're going to brand this properly. I think what we'll do is we'll ultimately ask for your help, those that actually pay attention to this. This week, we're going to talk about conferences. There are a lot. I don't know if you guys got this mailer for franchisors or suppliers, but IFA sent out their list, and there's a whole bunch of conferences. We have the multi-unit conference coming up in about a week or 2 weeks, and then there's a whole other group of conferences that happen, whether it's supplier conferences or your conference as a franchisor. So where do I go? Where do I start, and what should I be doing with my budget? For franchisors, and this is my opinion, so I'm not the only one that's going to be in this camp, but my opinion is do the big expo, do the biggest expos that exist. So the New York Franchise Expo, it has probably the highest traffic of people that are least raising their hand and saying, I'm somewhat interested in understanding what franchising is. So I'd start there and then work around there. So if I'm a restaurant brand, do I do NRA in Chicago? Well, it's going to be a crapshoot, and so is every conference or every single expo that you go to. It's going to be a crapshoot. So if you are looking to expand specifically in Chicago, because that show is going to attract the highest penetration of those within the Windy City, then yeah, that makes sense. Should you go to the Houston show and the Anaheim show? Again, if California is a growth market for you, at least it puts you in the market and gives you a reason to talk about you coming there. Those conferences or those expos, if I'm a franchisor, it's not necessarily the fact that I have a booth there, it's the conversations that I can build leading up to the show and around the show. Thus, if you have a lead database, then marketing to them prior to the show to try to set up re-engagement meetings makes sense. So as a franchisor, do I go to every single conference? Probably not. But, and they are not paying me for this, the multi-unit conference saying has the best content out of every single franchise show that exists or conference that exists, including the IFA. It's very intimate. It is my favorite, and you can see that Jim Collins, Good to Great, and Joe Theismann are the keynote speakers this year. That's high talent. That will at least give some sort of takeaway and get your brain thinking about how to be creative. So I would start here, and this goes for suppliers, for franchisors, or for prospective franchisees. The beauty of a show like this, for those of you that are looking to buy a franchise, is that it will give you a good insight into all the brands that are looking to push their opportunity fairly hard. There are a lot of franchisors that attend this. For a supplier, it's hard. There's a lot of conferences. I know which shows or which conferences will get the best return on investment at. Fran Connect has a great user conference that has always been a good one for us because we have the ability to speak our opinions. IFA, when we have a speaking slot, it can potentially net a lot of value for us, but it's hard because there's so many of them. I held up the IFA sheet. Where do I start? So if I'm a supplier, multi-unit, I still would go there as a primary, and then based on what type of client am I retaining? Is it restaurant? Then I go to an NRA or a restaurant leadership conference. If it's more retail, maybe I do an ICSC out in Vegas. So I would specify what category you're looking to go to and try to put the most amount of money there. It's the same thing as franchise lead generation. And again, as a prospect, multi-unit's a great show. The New York Expo will give you a good understanding of all the brands that exist out there. So the final answer is start being more selective. I would pick one major conference, one major show to do a quarter. That'll give you 4 ones a year. That means you're in the office and focusing on your business as much as possible, because time is money and money is time. Pick 4 that you're going to go to a year, whether you're a prospect, you're a supplier, or a franchisor, and stick to them. I would do multi-unit. IFA, I might do that every other year depending the life cycle of my brand. And then I would pick a few of the other little conferences that appear here and there. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight. I am happy to help any of you create the right marketing plan. Email me at nick@nolimitagency.com. Whether you're a prospective franchisee or you're a supplier or a franchisor looking to gain the right insight into where should I spend my money on what conferences, I'm happy to talk through it with you. So send me an email and I'll be happy to give you some good advice. That is the weekly Sizzle Rewind. We will talk to you next week.